I'm aware of that kind of kid.
Yeah, I'm getting to the point where it's like, oh, I wore this yesterday. I'm like, you know, that looked kind of cute. I could wear that again.
Yeah, and to be fair, how dirty do you get in a day-to-day basis?
I definitely got ice cream on my pants last night. There's ice cream.
That's fair. That's fair. I got like Cheeto Puffs probably right here on my thighs as well, so.
Yeah, you don't believe in napkins.
I believe in napkins, they're just not always where my thighs are.
The secret is you wipe your fingers inside your pockets.
Oh.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
It is not.
See, this man got pockets full of Cheeto dust.
Crumbs, just pockets full of crumbs.
That's crazy. Wow. I think we just hacked it, y'all.
Life hack.
Okay, how we feeling? Everybody cool? Everybody good?
Beautiful.
Everybody good? How are you feeling?
I'm a little nervous.
It's okay. I'm a little nervous too. I'm always like, you know, because I appreciate people coming on here in their time, so I'm like, I want to make sure that like I ask good questions and like, so I'm nervous from like this end as well. But I get you, because I have been on that side of the table when people are talking to me. I'm like, what are you gonna ask me?
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. I'm like trying to formulate answers to questions I don't have.
Yeah, right. There's the web of what could be is out there. Well, we're going to start with geometry. I'm joking. I just wanted to make sure that you knew we were not going to be covering mathematics.
When you said that, I didn't even think you'd quiz me on like the craft of geometry. I thought you'd just ask me about my high school experience. I was like trying to remember my teacher, but no, I could not answer.
Was it a good geometry experience?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you use geometry at any point in your life? Do you play pool?
I do sculpture, so I do have to remember stuff, and I never can. I always turn to Google, and Google doesn't explain it as well as my geometry teacher did. It's frustrating. I wish I took another geometry class. I've considered there's like Khan Academy. It's like an online thing to help kids with homework.
Yeah. KAHN, right? Yeah. So you talk about taking those?
Yes.
Nice. Yo, I feel like I want to brush up on math sometimes too, where it's like, I feel like I don't use this often, but this would be good to know.
Yeah, it's kind of fun too.
Is there something that you've brushed up on that you do remember from geometry that like now is stuck in your brain? No, good. So we got to go back to the Google search.
SOHCAHTOA. Get that triangle.
SOHCAHTOA.
The tan, cos, sine.
Oh, was it tangent, cosine, and oh man, you pulled that out. That was clutch. I didn't even think we were gonna talk about this much geometry, and it's working out. Look at us. You learned something on liner notes. Thank you so much for being here. On Liner Notes, you are an amazing songwriter, a great live performer, and just, well, I'm going to speak from my personal experience. Somebody that, to me, feels like invites people into your artistry and your music. You don't try to shove it down people's throats. Like you are somebody that invites people to come in if they want to come and welcomes them. So I've always appreciated that since I've kind of been listening to you over these last couple of years. And so I've always just wanted to pick your brain for my own selfish reasons, and creating a cool TV show is a great reason to do that. So thank you very much for being on the show. Everybody, this is Abby Huston. Yes, we can clap, we can do stuff. Nice, all right, cool. I first wanted to start off with, by the way, thank you for bringing the record. I'm so happy that actually I'm going to have a copy now. That's
Oh,
super
yeah.
dope. By the way, I saw it was available at Target, by the way, online.
What? No.
Yeah. It was
Really?
available on Target.com.
Man.
I'll send you the link.
Yes.
That's pretty. I almost
Oh,
bought it from
screenshot it.
Target.com. Yeah, I'll try to remember
Don't
that.
do that.
Yeah.
I mean, unless
No, that's why I got it from you direct. I'm gonna put that down in my notes though. But
that's cool.
I wanted to talk about your album, Aha. Came out in 2021, and I think really carved you out of space in Richmond. Can you just tell me a little bit about how you put together that collection of songs and what Aha meant to you?
Yeah, it was honestly just a lot of fun. It was, I think the first time, my first album was collaborative, so I pulled together people from a bunch of different bands to be on each song. And that was like an attempt at this, like, it was like a community building exercise for myself, like just trying to reach out to people in bands that I like more and try to get them into my space. But the second album was more like, it didn't really work. I didn't become friends with anyone from the first album or reach out to them again, really. I was just like, wow, thanks. And then that was fizzle. But the second album, it really came from just being in a space where we were all making music every day. I think the pandemic allowed that. So that was a lot of fun.
How did having like new musicians kind of help you with this album change your sound a little bit? Because every time you get new people in on a project, it's going to influence it a little bit.
Yeah, I think a lot of that is, well, the common thread between the two albums is the same producer. And he, in the second album, Cameron Smith was producing for the other artists coming into the space. So I think a lot of the choices just come from how the performers differentiated ourselves, because he was producing at the time for Benet, Jason Jamal, and a little bit for Katie Lawson. So it was like, how are all of our musics, like what makes my songs Abby Houston versus Katie Lawson or Benet or Jason? So I think a lot of it is his influence plus how we spun it.
Nice. No, it's a really good album. So I was definitely curious as to who had worked on it. But one of the favorite songs for me is Apartments off of the record. I really like that. And so I wanted to ask you, what does that song mean to you? But then also I wanted to touch on the video. I really liked the video. So that's kind of my second part of the question. But just first, like the song Apartments, like, where did that come from? And why is that one of the ones that made it to your album, besides it being good, in my opinion?
I think, like, typically a song will just make it to my album through, like, what I happen to be going through in that time. And that was a more potent song for me as well, just because it wasn't like I guess it wasn't an interpersonal issue I was going through. It's more of like, it was just me alone, like, how do I feel about myself and how do I feel about how I'm reacting to everything. And yeah, I think that's what makes it more relatable sometimes when there's a song like you versus your ex, and then people hearing it put themselves in that situation and try to figure out how they, I don't know, or I do that anyway.
Yeah, I think that's true. I find that a lot of the great songs that people love, it's because people are able to kind of jump into that artist's headspace for a minute, or at least to relate those words to their own life in some way and kind of become that character or that emotion. And so I think that's good. Do you find it easy or difficult to write like that, to leave space for somebody else?
I guess it depends. I think it depends on where I am. Sometimes, like lately I've been having more trouble writing like that because I'm thinking too much about other people. And I guess it's imagining, well, I think like having a baby was really a personal thing that feels crazy to experience through other people's eyes. So I'm like, how do I even share things without thinking about how other people are receiving them now? Or, yeah. But, yeah, I think the songs that come through are the ones where I'm confident in how I'm putting it out, that I know my intentions will shine through.
And honestly, I feel that honesty like through your music. I always feel like you can tell when a person is really trying to connect or really trying to let you in versus making something that is just intended to sound good. You know what I'm saying? I think there's a difference, and so I like that, and I like that about you. I think that's part of the reason that your music is appreciated the way that it is. How did it feel being shortlisted as a final nominee for the Newland Music Prize last year?
That was really cool. That was really cool because I was in such good company. I remember a VCU student reached out to interview me. Like, one of the questions was like, "What if you won?" And I immediately imagined, I'm like, I would be so uncomfortable because McKinley-Dixon's on that list. And then when he won, I'm like, okay. Because that was my favorite album of the year. It was so good.
It was it was a great album. I was on the judging list as well, so just getting to listen to all those albums was just a reminder of how great Richmond is. It's like, wow, this is what we're choosing from. Like, how lucky are we as a city? And your album, it definitely belonged there. It was one of my favorites of last year. Again, this is why you're on the show.
Yes, I remember that. That's how Newland Music Prize was actually really cool because it connected me to a bunch of people I didn't know, like you and Ant.
Nice.
Definitely the two. Like, I guess both of you reached out to me through that, and I really appreciated that.
Well, I mean, anytime I hear something that I like, I try to reach out, especially, when you're within like Instagram distance. You know what I'm saying? And I can come see you perform another time. Yeah, Ant the Symbol is one of my old friends, and you're talking about connecting with him through the Newland Prize. I know you guys have a song that's going to be included on his album, and it's called "Can We Talk" with Logos the Poetic. I really love this song. I think people will really love this song. Can you tell me just you hear about Ant the Symbol, and how does this song come about?
He reached out to me with some beats, and I had been dying to work with Logos because he's a good friend and just like a mastermind. He wrote like 5 verses or something for that, and we just kept recording, and that was really fun for me too because I get anxiety in the studio, especially with new people. It's not really the space where I just jump in and feel comfortable. But that one, because he sent the beat, I had a little home set up and I was engineering it too. And I think that was cool for me because I had never been in a situation where I was engineering someone else as well. And to be able to have that control to kind of like put together what I wanted the song to be specifically, I don't know. That was exciting.
We've had this conversation on this show before. I think it was with OZ, talking about when you're an artist, but you're also engineering the session for you or for another artist, like being able to switch your brain from technical, is this recording, is everything working mode, into performance, vocally, that kind of artistry. How was that for you? Because for me, that was really difficult.
Yeah, I think what made that easier is I also, in the same way that I'm not most comfortable just jumping into a studio space with someone else. I didn't even give it the time for when Marquise was over, or Logos. I was like, okay, I'm gonna record all my vocals just alone and then invite him over.
Okay.
So I had plenty of time to switch my brain, and I don't know. I like to give myself a lot of grace to kind of get to where I'd like to be.
Sure. No, I think that's very important. I mean, when you start putting pressure on top of yourself to create, I don't think it really allows what's there to come out. I think you end up forcing some stuff out.
Yeah, and it's funny because there really is no pressure. Like, I don't know where that comes from when someone else is there, especially people who I know support me. But I don't know. It's hard to shake sometimes.
I understand. I've walked into like a studio before and people are there and you're like, oh, I have to do this in front of others. What if I mess up? And it's like, I don't know. They believed in you to bring you to the space, right? Like,
Yeah.
And the same thing with you. Like you're with your friends. You're inviting people that you like to create with. So, yeah, it usually is just kind of in our heads, isn't it? That happens.
Yeah. The first time last year, I did some recording where the engineer was. I was nervous. It was at Mike Million's studio, and his approach to taking my recordings was to, like, if I didn't feel good about it, deleting them. And it never worked like that. I usually like go in and chop and like nitpick each syllable and be like, okay, this syllable from this take, and I go crazy with it. And I like doing that as someone behind the computer, but I could see why someone working with me behind a computer would not want to have to do that. So it's just like all on feel, like delete if it wasn't feeling good.
Yeah. No, I get what you're saying because, you know, you're sitting there working on your song and you're like, man, I can do 50 hours. Of,
Exactly.
Let me grab this little snippet and this little snippet. But from like an engineer standpoint too, like I think if you can get a longer section of vocals all at once, usually the feel is consistent, you know,
Yeah.
and the vibe is consistent. So I like that approach as well. Have you kind of changed how you edit songs since working with Mike? Are you still?
I still like it. I'll like, it's so bad. I line up like 50 different tracks and then just keep going in them all. And if it is different feels, I'm like, okay, these don't work together unless I'm like vamping up to it or something. But I kind of like getting in my head about it.
So on the average Abby Huston track, how many vocal takes actually make the cut into the track?
I could not tell you. For AHA, Cameron had me set up in a separate room, so I don't even know, like doing vocals, and it was so funny. He wired an XLR through his attic and drilled a hole in his ceiling to have a booth space in just a regular house. But yeah, I could not tell you. We were at it for hours.
Well, it sounds good. You don't notice it when you listen to it, so good editing. Nice job, guys. One of the videos that I came across when I was like, you know, doing research on you and I liked, is you had an Hourglass sessions where like you were performing in the Decentraland. I forget the name of the actual, like, it's not Metaverse. It's is it Decentral? Oh, Decentraland is the game. That's right. Yes, my bad. But you were getting like choose winners and perform like in this virtual space. Like that's a cool experience. Talk to me a little bit about that.
I think I just felt so goofy. I guess because I don't know much about the lifestyle of video games or virtual worlds, I was just playing with it. It was, I don't know. I liked the costume contest. I was learning about buying virtual land for investment purposes, and it was like, I guess, it just felt like hanging out with my band because we were most of the room.
Yeah, the Hourglass session studio is a pretty cool little space. How was it working with them and kind of putting that whole production together? Because that wasn't just a live performance, that was a live performance and a live stream on a multiple
Yeah.
platform. Like, what's that kind of experience like, seeing that from the other side?
Well, they're very professional. So that was fun. I guess one thing that kills me about that is my guitar strap fell. That's the one takeaway I have like for years since. I'm like, my guitar strap. I was like balancing on one foot, holding it.
You pulled it off though. The show must go on.
Yes. It was like the first song too. But yeah, the guys from Hourglass are really nice. I actually was in an astronomy class with Tyler Scheerschmidt.
Nice.
And he was the main videographer during that session, so it felt comfortable.
That's cool. Yeah, Tyler helped us put this together, and he lent us some
nice.
equipment to make this happen. So he's a big help for,
Yeah, he's
for
a
this
nice
production.
dude.
He's a super nice dude and a great musician too.
Oh yes, I still haven't seen his band, and I feel really bad about that.
Oh yeah, nah, they're gonna keep smashing around Richmond. I think big things are coming for them. Another cool experience that we have bumped into each other at was Daydream Fest last year, Richmond's newest music festival, and this year it's going to be a 2-day event. But last year you performed there, and it was great seeing you perform. We got to talk to you under the HearRVA tent and stuff like that. What was it like performing then? I know it was hot, but then also like how important is having something like that in Richmond?
It was really fun. I guess I don't go to a lot of festivals, so I don't think I understand the importance as much as people who tend to. But as a musician, it was fun to just like have that big of a bill. I'd never been a part of something so big, and I don't remember the other part of your question.
Just the like how is it important to like have something like that in Richmond, like a big festival type music that celebrates Richmond artists?
Yeah, that's always fun too. I think one thing, I guess the first thing that comes to mind when you're saying that is that we need more local people who were raised in Richmond on the bill. That would be cool.
Who are some that you would like to see get some more love?
Well, I guess Jason Jamal for sure. He has a really fun live show and cool disco tracks. I know Benet was they were talking to Benet about being on it both years, so it was not without trying that Benet is not on the track on the list. But
Nice. Yeah, I'm a little bummed. I'm gonna miss it this year. Are you gonna be attending this year?
I haven't seen the dates. I would probably like to.
Cool. Yeah, it's May 29th and 30th. I don't know. It's Memorial Day and the day before, but it's 2 days
yes.
this year, which is kind of cool. They're going bigger. But you've done some touring around, trying to going down to South by Southwest and performing down there. What's it like traveling and taking your music to a different location and presenting it? You know, you've been around Richmond. These are this is where the music was created, so the feel is gonna fit here. How does it feel kind of presenting that to a new audience?
It's always interesting. I think it's usually interesting because I have a different setup each time. I haven't really taken a steady band to multiple locations. So yeah, once I played 2021, I played a show in Miami where I just like borrowed someone's guitar there and like their amp, and it was like a punk setup. And a lot of it is like, I didn't have a car until last year, so it was like, what can I take on a bus that will
What are the
get me
essentials?
there? Yeah.
The
Well,
Abby Houston essentials?
Yeah. Essentials. Yeah, I don't want to take an amp on a bus, although I've considered it. Yeah, I think sometimes when I play in the DC area. I use my dad's guitar, which is cool. Yeah, it's kind of like, it's just fun to experiment with how it's going to sound when I guess I think if I bring myself and the songs, it doesn't matter how it comes together, otherwise it'll just be interesting to me. I'm not really particular about having it like match.
It's a Friday night in Richmond. You're free, babysitter. This is completely hypothetical. I know how the young parent thing is, but you're free. Everybody's playing in Richmond. What snack are you gonna grab, and who's the bill you're going to see?
Well, I think I always have the most fun at a tribe show, and that's been for years, but I've only really, I think last year I went out to more than I usually do. And that's just because the energy they bring as friends to each other's sets, and their group of friends, it's a vibe.
They do. They pool their energy together, and you can see them like feeding off of each other on stage. It's kind of fun. I've yet to have that experience where like I'm bouncing off of a collaboration of writers very often. I just recently got to play in front of a live band, which is cool, so that experience. Have you ever kind of sat and round-tabled with other writer friends? I'm sure you have writer friends in the area, but do you guys ever work together on, just each other's work or kind of help each other out or, anything like that?
Yeah, I was pursuing being a songwriter for a minute, like trying to write for other people. I think that was around the same time we were working on the album. Cam had me as an in-studio writer, so he'd invite other people over, and I'd be there like, if you need anything, I'll just be coming up with ideas right here. So it was a fun exercise, like just trying to like roll with what somebody else's direction was. And a lot, I think exercise is a really good word for it, because a lot of it is like, they're your thoughts, so they're not necessarily what somebody else is thinking. So it'd be writing and then like, no. And I'd write some more and just try to get to where.
Yeah, you have to fit something exactly in a space, and it's got to blend in, because if you use, a different type of phrase than the person had been using the whole thing.
Well, blend in and resonate too. It has to like what I write are my thoughts and feelings. So if the singer is like, I don't feel that way, it's not going to make the song.
Yeah, it could be a great song on paper, but the performance from that artist could not, or could lack, because they don't feel the lyrics as much. That's super interesting. I like the whole how a recorded song and a live performance relate. I think is a very interesting thing. Do you find yourself enjoying one more than the other, or are they both great?
Yeah, I think they do different things for me. I think because I get more nervous, I am not inclined to live performance, but also because I get more nervous, I feel like I get more out of it. Like okay, this is a opportunity for me to grow right now for these people and try to work through it. And
what is I know the answer for myself, but what is the moment for you when it's the highest bit of nervousness before you perform? Like, is there a moment, and how do you work through that moment to go on stage and perform?
I think usually the most helpful thing for me is just a minute to myself. Like, if I'm working with a band, just like stepping away and trying to like, or even like if I'm doing a solo show, I like usually want to socialize with the other people on the bill, but if I can step away and just like run a few songs by myself, that helps remind me. I'm like, okay, you know these songs, they're your songs.
Yeah, you just kind of got to recenter for a moment.
Yeah.
Just remember, that you've done this before. Do you, you get off stage, you've obviously done it because the performance happens and you come off stage. Are you able to add that into like your confidence pocket to pull out for the next show, or is it kind of a restart every time?
I think it's a restart every time, and that's been the case since I was first getting into performing. I'm going to take that back, because I do know that I've grown a lot over the years. It just still feels like a restart, but I know that it's adding on to, like, I definitely have grown a lot in confidence since I first started playing, even just in Richmond.
The Aubrey Richards Boutique is a full pop-up shop and blog centered around and for women who are happily maturing. The items are either handmade, designed, or ethically sourced from themselves, other makers, or small companies. Aubrey Richards Boutique is here to uplift guests and build community within our community. Find out more at aubreyrichardsboutique.com.
Oh, going back to Aha, you worked with Egg Hunt Records to get that produced. I mean, Egg Hunt Records is Richmond classic. How do you, get involved with them? How do they get involved in releasing this project?
Yeah, so they were for, I guess, I don't know the industry terms for it, but like, they funded the distribution and release. So we had the album fully produced before reaching out to them, and that's how I think we pitched it to them. Like, okay, just listen to it, and if you like it, it's here, you can take it. I think if we were trying to, I didn't, in the negotiation stages of that, they're like, you don't have a lot of fans. And I'm like, no, I don't currently. So if we didn't have the album ready, I don't think that would have happened.
You have to present yourself, in the best way forward. So I think, that was smart, doing it as well as you could, and then going, hey, this is what I have. How can we work together? Can we help? I think that's great, and I think that was very cool. How did you get them the album? Like, did you send them an email and present it? What did you say in that email? How do you present the record?
I think we were, I guess I felt like I was selling myself more than the record. It's like, I'm an aspiring writer. I'd like to be writing for a number of artists. I have worked with these artists. I am, like, in production space, like, working with these, and selling myself and selling Cameron. I think it was really a collaborative album between him and I. So it's funny that it's as Abby Huston, but pitching to Egg Hunt was pitching both of us.
Nice. Yeah, I'm always interested to see, like, how artists are, coming upon the opportunities, because you do have to present yourself to these people for people to know you. So it either has to be an email or a personal connect. And I mean, Richmond's small. You might run into people, but sometimes you have to reach out, and I think it's important that other artists know that. Like, people aren't just going to stumble upon you all the time.
Yeah, no, I don't think that Adam from Egg Hunt is running around the Camel or Gallery 5 late at night. He has kids. He's in the burbs.
I know that deal. I have kid, and I live in the burbs. Still technically Richmond, but I'm in the burbs, and it is tough to get out to see everybody. Even if your priority is to explore and find new artists, like, you have to find time to do that and fit it into your life schedule, and then good luck, finding the 8 million bands that are in Richmond and finding all of them. Because I've been looking for like 3 years, and I feel like we're still finding whole pockets of artists and groups. Has there been anybody that you've come across in the last couple years that you're just a huge fan of now, as far as Richmond musicians?
I think 80. I don't know if you've heard their music, but they moved to Richmond they moved to Richmond during the pandemic, and they haven't even released what I'm most excited about. They have a lot of music they've been working on, and recently, I think a few nights ago, I saw clips from a house show that they played a solo set, and it just sounded beautiful. I like them with the full band and individually. I like this orange on this plate.
It's kind of nice.
It just feels like a prop.
That's a realistic painting. Oh hell yeah! Okay, so that is Lavender Michael, this dinosaur, because it's a lav mic, and he's kind of pink on the top, so that's Lavender Michael. Yeah.
Mic check 1, 2. We good?
You may need to flick yours on and off, Max. Sometimes.
Oh, it's blinking, right?
Yeah, I know. Just flick it off and then flick it back on. Sometimes you gotta do it twice.
Okay. Check. No.
Ryan, do yours as well. Flick off and on. Sometimes it's just janky.
Yep. Yo. Can you hear me?
I should have done this first. It smells so good.
What's that?
Mic check.
Oh, it's because you got it plugged in the line in.
Oh,
Now try it. Cool.
my bad.
It's all good, baby.
Cool. All right. Hi, Evie. I absolutely love your song Promise a lot. I think it's because I'm just a big fan of something like authentic and empathetic as well. Is it hard to, I guess, get into that space and write songs like that? And also, how difficult is it to do it like consistently?
Yeah, I think it's funny. That one, it's not hard to write like that. It's hard to support yourself once you've written it. I almost didn't put that out because it was just like, this is stupid. And I was very much pushed to put it out. And I still sometimes listen to it and I'm like, this is stupid. But it is genuine, and I think that's the thing is like, when it's stupid and genuine, you're like, dang, now everybody knows. But it's just, that's life.
Yeah. No, I greatly appreciate it. I think there are a lot of music fans love that genuine sound and feel. So, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else have one? Oh, cool. Mel said, I got one. Hold this
Mel always
camera.
has one.
Wow, that's so fun.
Good morning. Do you remember the first song you wrote? I consider myself a songwriter too. My cousin and I wrote a song when we were 8 and 9, and we both vaguely remember the lyrics. But it's something at almost in our mid-30s. We're like, we should really remember what we have, write, and then just add on to it. But do you remember the first song you've written, and have you recorded it?
I do. I would not record it. It was a creative. I forget what the assignment was, but the first song I wrote was about Patrick Henry. Give me liberty or give me death. And it was a group project, and it was what I brought to the project, and I felt so good about it. I'm like, wow, I could write songs. This just came out of me.
You said you wouldn't record it?
I don't think so. I mean, maybe for students. I don't know that there was a lot of. I think it's more. I would more want to show it to a kid and be like, you can write a song too, than want to record it.
Well, have you, let's say, go back 10 years, have you written something before that you've gone back to, like maybe you thought was cheesy or you're like,
Yeah. That was the second thing I thought of after Patrick Henry was the first single on Rich I wrote as a teenager, and it was another one that I kind of had to be pushed to put it out because I wrote it fast and it didn't seem like that profound, but was called Magnolias. It was about a girl named Magnolia who was cute, and I never even spoke to. I just wrote a song.
Nice.
Dope. Anybody else? All right, cool. Well, all we have to do is 2 more things. One, if you could take this cool clapperboard that we've got here, and we're gonna look into this camera. If you could just hold it up and say like, "Hey, this is Abby Huston. You're watching Liner Notes." Clack. You know, however you want to introduce yourself. You can clack before. You can clack after. You can do it twice if you want. I don't care. So it's up to you. But just say who you are and that you're on Liner Notes, and we'll film it. Let me know when you're ready, sir. Okay, we're good to go.
I'm Abby Huston. I'm on Liner Notes.